What's going on, family? What's going on? Black Feniks checking in. I'm at the headquarters this morning, and I wanted to talk to you about the 4 different welding procedures. A lot of people that actually jump into welding, they don't fully understand the different processes, or they don't understand the flexibility of it. I think it's very important now that we would really jump into the information to have a more of a broader spectrum of welding and what we can do and the different procedures and what's most common. These are the 4 most common processes that I want to talk to you about. And I want to read a little piece of this article to give you an idea of these processes. So it says, learning the ropes of a new trade can be time consuming. You need to become familiar with the entire working process from start to finish. Master each level before moving on. So the first process of welding is called GMAW. That's gas metal arc welding, or metal inner gas. And the next process, GTAW, which is gas tungsten arc welding. And then you got SMAW, which is shield metal arc welding. And then you have FCAW, which is flux core arc welding. So the first procedure, MIG can also be called inner shield. So because it's an inner wire and the gas covers it as a protection. So it's an inner shield. Using the MIG process. The MIG process is actually more common for factories, manufacturers, different plants that have a big turnaround on products. Majority of the furniture, household, car parts, different equipment is made by a MIG gun. So either they use gas or they use the second process of MIG, which is flux core, which I'm going to get into that here in a minute. But I think it's very important that we know the steps and that we know what we can get from each step, each process. That way we can kind of help determine which one we want to actually be in. I'm a combination welder. I do all of them. I don't know if you want to be a combination welder, but if so, I think it's very important to learn all processes, like from the top down. That way, once you get to the end, it'll make sense and it'll get easier. Because literally, my personal opinion, once you learn how to master the stick rod, which is the SMAW, once you master that rod, it helps prepare you for the MIG, the TIG, and the flux core. In my personal opinion, it kind of sets you along to get you ready, so that way other doors can open for you and makes things a little bit more easier when you jump into the process. I was having a Q&A yesterday, and a gentleman said something that really stuck to me. He said, I've been in school. I think he said we've been on this process for 2 months. And he literally said this. I can't make it up. If you want to, you can go back and listen to the last video I dropped. It was independent welding Q&A questions. And the gentleman said that he literally been learned more in the 30 minutes that we was hands-on talking, welding, going over some ideas than he has in this 2 months period of school. And I wanted to highlight that because we think that we just have to go to school to get the education. America's school is a business. It's not as far as it just fully takes pride in educating, but they want to educate, but they want to make sure they charge you or they stretch it out so they can make money. I know a lot of people with degrees that don't really have it here, or they have the practical information, but they never applied it. They don't have the wisdom. They don't have the hands-on. And I think you need both. But to be honest, in my personal opinion, if you got the opportunity, take the courses if you feel, take the college courses if you feel that's what's good for you. But I really think you'll get more out of something that's hands-on or vocational, because you can get more information in a small period of time. And it also depends on the person. Everybody takes in knowledge differently. So some of us, we might need a little longer. But I honestly believe it's the teacher and the information that is provided to help you really get over the hump faster when it comes to welding and really learning the processes. So for those who are actually jumping into welding, I would just want to say, weigh all your options. If you can pay for it out of your own pocket, it'll be cheaper. Because that gentleman even said, he said, man, for what they're charging me and what you're charging for a course, I wish you was around. I just would have took your course, because literally I'm saving money and I'm learning more, and I can go on and get a job while I'm still learning and increasing my education. It's the plus. So the next one is GTAW, which is TIG welding, better known as TIG welding, is gas tungsten arc welding. And this process, I like to prefer the TIG process to driving a stick. So for those who are familiar with driving and a standard or a manual shifting vehicle, you have a few different processes going on. You got your hand on the steering wheel, you got your hand on the clutch, you got your hand on the gear and your feet on the clutch, and then switching it to the gas. You're doing a few different things. To me, that's the same thing with the MIG process. If you're right-handed, you got your gun in this hand. You got your feeding your wire in. You're depositing your metal. And then if you have a foot control, you got your foot control to control the amperage. Or if it's a stretch start, then the amperage is already there. So it's just two things, but it's always a multiple process. And the thing I like about TIG welding is very clean. You don't get no sparks. You can actually get all dressed up in your nice suit, do a little TIG weld and keep on going. That's one thing I always thought was funny about TIGging. But when I jumped into the field independently, I couldn't get the money I wanted out of TIGging without having to have a whole lot of insurance, kiss a whole lot of ass on certain companies, certain factories, and I just didn't want to do that. I did it getting involved, diving into it, and it just seemed that it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was just too much fakeness, too much confusion. I just wanted to show up, do what I need to do, and leave. And a lot of times doing certain factories, you just have to kiss the ass of chain of command. You know what I mean? And I was just like, you know what, that ain't for me. I made more out of MIG/flux core and stick welding than I do with the gas, with the TIG, the tungsten welding, so to speak. So to me personally, I think it's all on what you want to do. I know some guys out of Feniks, they got a company and all they specialize in is TIG and stainless. And they hit these factories up and they do the shutdowns and the turnarounds, and that's fine. But then that money was controlled on that, and I wanted to make products. I wanted to not be controlled by someone picking as well. We're gonna mess with them, and if they don't do, how people play it. I would rather have a good product and present it than just providing my service with labor all the time. That's just my personal opinion. So let's go to the next one, which is stick welding, shielded metal arc welding. Now, when you shield metal arc welding, most of us know that majority of the time this is a structural or a pipe process, field process. Requires you to have a stinger and a rod. The cool thing about stick welding I like is that they have different size rods for the amperage, so you can weld on some thinner material. But if it's repairs, services in the field, structural welding, ironworking, the list can go on with that stick. I really think you can always make money stick welding, some form of fashion, because once you get good at it and you understand the technique, it just opened up a lot of doors, especially for independent work. So to me, learning how to stick weld is going to lead you to a big door of independence in the long run, because it is always a need. It's always something that someone is going to need, like hands down. Like I can't tell you the times I have been in situations and my certs has kept me above the water. And this is my wallet. I'm gonna show you something because I keep AWS. I keep my certs on me. And I think it's good to have them because at any time I can get a bag, anytime. So two that I keep on me at all times is my OSHA 10 card and my AWS. Those are two that you can buy personally, you can pay for, you can maintain. The search costs different prices, depends on where you're located at. You can get your welding search probably from $150 to $400. Depends on what city, state you're in and what position you're trying to get certified in. So to me personally, the stick welding is something that's going to live forever. So I will most definitely say learn it, and most definitely learn that MIG process because it's more economical. You can get more done on a smaller budget because the wire, you can get a big spool of wire. You can do a lot of welding with that wire versus you throwing rods away all the time. You know what I mean? Let's go to the next one. So the next one is flux core. Flux core arc welding. This was developed as an alternative to shield welding. The semi-automatic arc weld is often used in construction projects thanks to its high welding speed and portability. See, the flux core is so cool because it's like a stick welder in a MIG welding machine. So now I can use this MIG welding process that's more economical, and I can still get the same tensile strength of a rod. Now, depends on what type of wire you're getting, different gauges, thickness. On the average, I burn 035, 045, two that I burn a lot. And with the flux core welding, I can say this. It's not like stick welding is 7018. A 7018 got more alloy in it. So it can take more and it can flex. But a 6010 or 6011 don't have as much as more metal. So, it can strong weld, but it can actually crack or break if it's under a lot of pressure. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on what you're doing. That's why I said the process is good. Depends on what's going on. Is it going to have a lot of movement? Is it going to be shaking a lot? It's going to be, because if it is, then you might want to use a alloyed rod. That way you gives more flexibility in the weld so it can move without cracking. It's just a few things that you learn over time, learning these processes. But the four main processes, I want to go over them again so that way you can keep them in mind. It's gas metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, shield metal arc welding, and flux core welding. All of these are very great assets in the industry right now. no matter how you want to jump into it, it just depends on where you at and what you want to do. But I think you need to learn the 4 different processes and pick which one you want to actually specialize in, or you can actually specialize in all. Like I say, I'm a combination welder. I enjoy it all, but I had made more money doing stick welding, MIG/flux core welding. So I think learning these processes is going to help determine what direction you want to go in. Now, you can spend a 2 years in a associate's degree college program, and you can get this information over time with some more educational information, or you can invest in a tutor or a independent teacher, someone like myself. And I know there's others out there in different areas where you can actually get the hands-on experience and the book knowledge in less of time if you're trying to be independent. Now, if you're going for a job, majority of jobs, they just want you to be certified. You don't have to pull up with a degree. Say, here go my welding degree. Majority of them going to have you take a welding test anyway. Yeah, that looks nice on paper. Let me see what you can do. It's just what it is. So me personally, I think having a welding degree isn't as valuable than just having the knowledge if you're trying to start your own business. You know what I mean? So it all depends on what you're trying to do. But I really think it's wise that you don't need college, so to speak, especially if you're trying to be independent. Now, if you're in a situation where you can get it, that's fine. But why spend $5,000 on a college program when you can spend $1,000 independently, still write off and get that money back? You see it more, $600 and get the trade you need to get the job and then go back. So I think sometimes it's wise for us to consider our options, see what's around us, take advantage of the tutors, the teachers, the independent instructors, because especially those that have a passion to teach, not someone just doing it for a job. You can tell they just going to get a check. They really into it. I do it for a passion. And I know there's many teachers and independent tutors that not only teach welding, but other things, and they do it at a passion. You want to find someone to teach you that love what they do, enjoy what they do, and they have a success rate. They good at what they do. They actually practice what they preach. I think that's a plus when you're building your brand, when you're trying to gain information. So before I let y'all go, I just want to shout out the website for those who are not familiar with it, or for those who are, you can still visit it anyway. All the traffic to it helps me out with my algorithm. So I appreciate for those who visit it. It's www.HogOn2017.com. That's www.HogOn2017.com. And there's also HogOn Welding on all social media sites. That's Instagram, Facebook, all the above. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for checking in with me this morning. Like I say, my goal is to lead by example. I'm in the Columbus area right now, and I will be having independent welding courses. And I have 30-hour courses at $600. So for $600, you get a 30 course in stick welding, MIG welding / flux core welding, or flux core or TIG welding. So you got 4 different processes. Whatever process you want, I actually have a course for that. And I'm also designing a course for blueprint reading, codes, which I'm also going to be giving you some information within that, but I'm gonna have something set up specific and blueprints, and also bidding jobs, because I think that a lot of us don't know how to actually bid a job. You know what I mean? So it's a few different things that takes into consideration when you're doing independent bidding. So I want to also provide that, and that's something else I'm working on. So just stay in tune, man. I appreciate everybody for checking in with me this morning. Like I said, I went to bed early last night because I had a lot going on. I was tired. And now I woke up, I'm fully fresh, ready to go. So I got a couple things to do this morning. So I wanted to come to you live and just talk about the 4 welding processes, because I think the more information we get, the better we can help us determine what direction we want to go in. And as long as that information is pure and it's real, we can use it to get us to that next level. So my goal is to lead by example. Like I said again, I salute everyone for checking in with me this rising. Y'all be blessed and enjoy your day.